Welcome back to another episode of Scary Stories from the Internet, where I read creepypastas from various websites. If you enjoy these videos, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you have already, and turn your notification bell on, so that you get updated every time I upload a new video. But without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So this story was submitted by a user called Supernova239. On the evening of November, a knock came at my front door. I opened it to find a young man in his early 20s, with an awkward smile and a name tag pinned to his polo shirt that read Jamie. He had slicked back brown hair and wore a black suit, white shirt, and black shoes. His appearance overall gave me the willies, but he seemed nice enough. "Hi there," he said. "I'm here from Future Solutions. You have a few options when it comes to home security, but we are offering free installations for the month of November. Would you be interested? I'm normally not home at this hour. My wife was out of town visiting her parents, and I was working late. But I had finished up earlier than expected, and had come home to find Jamie at my door. I had no need for home security, but I was intrigued enough to ask him to come in. The living room was dark, so he asked if he could turn on the overhead light. I said, sure, and as he flipped the switch, a look of pure terror crossed his face. He stammered, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to turn that on. It's just that I'm not supposed to be in here. I didn't know anyone would be home." He tried to make a quick exit, but I stopped him. "Wait, what do you mean? What are you doing in my house?" I don't want to scare you, sir, but I work for Future Solutions." "Right." I nodded, still confused. "Well, our company recently had a merger, and some of our files got mixed up. I came to the wrong house, I guess. I'm really sorry. I'll be going now." As he started backing away, I noticed that he was wearing one shoe. In fact, only one shoe matched the other. Each shoe was different. This did not seem normal to me. "Are you sure you're okay?" He looked at me for a moment, then flashed another awkward grin. "Of course I'm fine, sir. Really. Sorry to bother you. Have a good night." And he left. I shut the door and turned off all the lights, locking up. Still confused about what was going on, I went to bed. In the morning after, of course, not sleeping at all, I checked my voicemail. To my surprise, there was a message from Jamie. He said, "Hi, Mr. Henderson. This is Jamie from Future Solutions calling back to apologize again for coming to the wrong house last night. We would still love to offer you a free installation of our home security system. If you're interested, please call me at this number. Thank you and have a good day." My number hadn't been on any kind of public record. So how did this guy get my number? It was weird, but maybe one of those companies that buys data and sells it to telemarketers. I called back the number, and we set up an appointment for him to come back later that week for a free estimate. Later that day, I received a text message from an unknown number. It said, "Hi, I'm Jamie. Just confirming our appointment for Friday between 3 and 6 p.m. See you then." I didn't reply because it wasn't polite, and I figured he would understand. On Thursday, I got another text. "Hi, just confirming our appointment for tomorrow between 3 and 6 p.m. See you then." I still didn't reply and went to bed. At around 4 a.m., I woke up to the sound of someone repeatedly knocking on my front door. I sat up in bed and listened. Knock, knock, knock. Whoever it was kept knocking, never giving me a moment to go back to sleep. I got up and walked over to the door to see who was out at this ungodly hour. Through the peephole, I saw a man in a black suit. I knew instantly who it was. I yelled, "Go away, Jamie." He looked up and his expression was unreadable in the darkness. He continued to stare at me through the peephole and knocked again. When I didn't answer, he started banging on the door. Loudly, I screamed at him to stop, but he wouldn't. I grabbed my phone and dialed 911. As I waited for the police to arrive, I stood by the window facing the front door, watching Jamie. It felt like forever, but eventually red and blue lights filled my vision. The police arrived within minutes and told me to let them in. They followed me to the front door and asked what was going on. I explained everything to them, and they looked through the peephole. "What a sick joke," an officer muttered under his breath. "We've been looking for this guy. There's a warrant out for his arrest." After they took him in, I learned that Jamie had been pulling the same stunt at houses all over town. He would knock, and if someone answered, he would try to get inside. If they refused, he would continue knocking until they called the cops. They believed he was trying to rob people, or even worse. To this day, I wonder why he wanted to come into my house so badly. Why did he keep knocking on my door when I clearly told him to leave? What was he planning to do once he got inside? These questions will probably haunt me forever. That was the end of the episode. And if you would like to submit a scary story of your own, please check the description box down below for instructions on how to do so. Also, if you haven't yet, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and turn your notification bell on. And I'll see you next time.